and welcome to Tabor Talk. So here I am. As you can see, I'm bundled up. It's the last day of April, and it's freezing. I don't know. So I was able to go outside on my deck. Of course, I'm quarantined here in the Catskills and not going out just for essentials to the supermarket. But I mean, outside doing my videos, going on my porch and all that. So I've been doing these downstairs and right here, my unfinished basement, and it's freezing. April 30th. All right. There are worse things in life than poor weather. Okay. So Jeffrey Epstein, last year when the whole thing went down, I was on top of this. I was following this the first time where he was arrested. He attempted suicide, failed the suicide attempt, and then it was it 2 weeks later? He actually, suicided himself or whatever that means. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play a clip. Eric Weinstein did a whole episode on the Jeffrey Epstein thing, his encounter with Epstein. But I'm going to play this. This was taped, I believe, December of 2019. Sam Harris and Jeffrey Epstein are talking about their encounter with Epstein and people who were involved with him. And I'll talk a little bit afterwards. Okay, here we go.
I know, for example, that people are fascinated by the Jeffrey Epstein story. And in general, we just had, so normally I don't love talking about current events because it dates the program, but we just had Kevin Spacey's accuser reported as dying. I don't think that is likely to be part of some super evil plot. So just so people can calibrate, it's not that everything that could make sense because there's an incentive I chalk up to a conspiracy.
He mentioned Kevin Spacey. Earlier they were talking, this is December. Remember Kevin Spacey's accuser died? Was there some sort of calculation there? Like, did Kevin Spacey have his accuser killed? Probably not. That's what they're talking about. Okay, so let me place the coffee down. I apologize. This is Tabor Talk, totally spontaneous, unedited, and guerrilla style, if you will. All right, I'm holding up my phone like this. I was downloading this to savefrom.net, but savefrom.net closed its doors. So here we go. Until then, here we go.
The Jeffrey Epstein thing is totally different. And you and I both met this guy for 15 years. And he's the only person I've been saying this with conviction about for 15 years. I had one meeting with him. I've said he's a construct. Somebody hired a person, probably named Jeffrey Epstein, to play a role, super genius, mega billionaire philanthropist. I wasn't buying any of it. I've never bought it. And I've talked to everybody in our sort of mutual network. And I always used one word because I wanted to make a huge bet that when the time came, I would say he's a construct and that I would be revealed to be correct. And that everybody was asked, what do you mean by a construct?
Right.
Okay.
Do you need to, have you clarified that on your podcast before?
Probably not. I recorded an entire Jeffrey Epstein episode, which is just me soloing for an hour.
Right.
But I haven't released it because I'm terrified.
He has since released it, by the way.
Ambiguous dinner where somebody sort of quasi-threatened me, and I wasn't entirely sure what they were saying. It was a little bit creepy.
Well, this is a strand of human complication that you're way more in touch with than I am. I don't deny that it exists, right? So, I think there are real conspiracies, and powerful people occasionally, do what powerful people are occasionally sociopaths, and then they do what you would expect, or conspire to do what you'd expect. So I don't have a strong feeling about.
Let's just take
the likelihood that Epstein had facilitated suicide. I think the likelihood that he was murdered is low, but allowed to commit suicide, I don't have a strong.
I'm agnostic about that. Whether some people stepped away so that he could do the thing that he needed to do, whether there's some vanishing probability that he actually isn't dead, I don't know. Not interested.
I put that at very low. Yeah.
I put that at very low odds as well.
Yeah, but I'm a fan of this.
Zero odds, Sam?
Well, I wouldn't. I know enough about probability to put almost nothing at zero odds.
It's a huge difference between those people who insist. When I hear somebody insist that probability be zero, I take it, and that person is smart.
But effectively zero. I mean, zero in the sense that we don't have to worry about it.
I waste no time thinking about it at the moment.
Right.
But I'm happy to have my Bayesian priors tutored.
Right.
Okay.
Bayesian priors. How great is Eric? He's so awesome.
I mean, as you know, I'm taken in or I utilize this
Like
homily
Beijing
that
priors.
you shouldn't ascribe to malice what can be explained by incompetence or whatever the
Tim
formulation
Ferriss
I
is.
talks
find that
about
that's
that all the
a
time, right?
interesting heuristic for somebody.
It's usually, I think it's usually true, right? So like it works much of the time and then it fails, but it fails in a case where you get more information and then you update your,
Well, that's what
you know,
that was.
your view.
That was exactly my point. That the Kevin Spacey thing, I would say, is in the realm of Newtonian mechanics,
Right.
and then the Jeff Epstein thing is like relativistic quantum field theory. Whatever your Newtonian laws are, we're not in Kansas anymore.
Right. But I had no, so you put me in the same room with him, so I should probably clarify that. So I found myself
We
at
should both apologize that nothing happened.
Yeah, that's right. I found myself at a lunch with him at the TED conference and had no insight into him or what he was up to, apart from the fact that he, my sort of creep detector went off.
I
And
bet it spiked like crazy.
yeah, I mean, he was someone who I didn't want to spend any more time with because he had this sort of schlocky, rich guy.
But within normal?
Well, no. I mean, it's just, but like when you see I guess he was probably, close to 60 at this point, and, he's with a, 21-year-old, it's like the optics of that are all, I mean, obviously there are many rich guys who do that, and there are many, certainly many people in Hollywood who do that. And, that's just the way some people roll when they have the opportunity to roll that way. And okay, fine. But there was just I have a kind of a level of, judgmentalism around that.
Right.
It's like at minimum, that's an attractor on the landscape of well-being that is not all that interesting to me. And so when you see someone captivated by that, like this is like life is going great because I'm 60 and she's 20, right? Like that's
Right.
the one variable that
He's
accounts
talking
for,
about his
right?
Lamborghini all the time.
Exactly,
Yeah,
right.
I-
So,
I
okay,
understand.
you've bored me already. But I had no more insight into him than that. I mean, I maybe
So
exchanged
I've been
3
talking
sentences with him.
From one meeting, I've been talking about him for 15 years.
Right. Yeah. Because
This is
was
interesting. He had a
10
secret
person
camera.
lunch,
Listen.
Okay.
and I had maybe 3 sentences exchanged with him.
So mine was at his house.
Right.
I'm ushered into a waiting room. He's got some super complicated electronic art. I get up, I look at it, and I say, "Wait, is that a camera inside the art?" I first think I'm a genius for finding a camera inside it.
Yeah.
My next thought is, I'm supposed to find the camera inside the art because the art is supposed to draw my attention, and I'm supposed to see that I'm being recorded.
Interesting.
I'm called out to a room in back with a huge, long, sort of
It's
exaggerated
fucking
dining
weird,
table
man.
with a giant American flag as its tablecloth, so that any food or drink that is served on it may spill onto an American flag.
Right.
And I'm just in high alert, like, fuck you. Who are you?
Right.
And he comes in and he's got this attractive, again, over probably 22, 23-year-old woman. I think she's introduced as an heiress or something.
Right.
And he's bouncing her on his knee in order to get my attention. There's some other guy who says nothing during the meeting. I have no idea what he was doing there.
And I think one detail I'd like to add here in defense of the many people and the many scientists who were in this guy's orbit and who didn't know how unseemly his life actually was. Some of these young women who you'd meet in his company were not just bimbos or strippers, or I mean, some of these people were going to medical school, and these were like
That's
smart
right.
young women.
Well,
who were,
and
who were
adult.
benefiting.
No,
from their
this is an
association with him.
incredibly important distinction. I don't think that the news media has done a good job of teasing out. It's very attached to the idea of Pedophile Island and Lolita Express,
Yeah.
Right.
and that lazy sensationalist journalism is crowding something out, which is that in general, from what I understand, so I met him in 2000, I think 2004, maybe 2003, but before his Florida incarceration and charges.
Yep.
Most people that I knew who met him with young adult women. And so my theory is that he was constructed to be the sapiosexual Hugh Hefner.
Right.
And that they stupidly hired, probably, and I guess I don't know this, Humbert for the role. And that dichotomy explains at least a lot of the initial
Humbert, nice
willingness of
solution.
the science community
Nabokov,
to play with
Slovita.
this person. That
I'm sure people
I'll
watching
be
this
honest,
know
I'm
that.
not particularly judgmental about consenting adults, even if it's probably ill-advised, to have a 50-year spread between two people.
Right.
If somebody's 20 and somebody's 80, and they
It's a completely different thing. It's very easy to see that if you've seen this guy
right.
be sort of the womanizing schmuck
Right.
within the bounds of total legality. He's surrounded by 20-year-olds, and he's got a 40-year
And
difference in
everybody's
age.
party to the game, and something about money.
You would never suspect this other thing about him.
Right. Okay.
So
That is not a fair defense after the Florida situation. The Florida situation changes that structure.
The
you mean
pedophilia.
his prosecution or
Well, a
the
lot of
Miami Herald thing that came out like a year ago?
No. The prosecution.
Right.
So a lot of people continued to talk to him, in part because, and I think this is something that hasn't been teased out, he was supporting an older style of science, which, this is again something that's going to be super complicated,
Yep.
was much more disagreeable. Now, the woke movement has seized on this as, well, that's the cowboy oppressive science of male assholes. But he was supporting a network of people who might not have been supported otherwise to somewhat break out of the mold. And because the U.S. government had stepped away from that work in large measure, in my opinion,
Yeah.
people were so dependent on him that they were eager to look the other way. And there was also the hint, I think, that this wasn't really Jeffrey Epstein, that this was really something else.
Let me pause this
funding.
for a second.
Oh, I don't know about that. I mean, I think
Okay. It really is crazy. Like, Eric has talked about this guy, John Brockman. John Brockman, the literary agent. I have a bunch of his books here, but his network of scientists, and now we've been hearing Bill Gates was involved with him, with the CIA. There is so much going on here. I'm actually going to do some more videos on this. I mean, I just have a small channel here, right? I have 300 subscribers, but I knew someone who knew someone who believes the unlikelihood that he's actually still alive. I don't really buy that now, thinking about it. Was he murdered? I mean, they discussed the possibility that they allowed him to kill himself. It's a bizarre story. And when you think about the connection with intelligence agencies, right? They call him, I did a video about Epstein being the compromiser, right? Getting dirt on people. There you are, opening people up to extortion and compromising people. So there you go. Let me play a little bit more and then I'll end it.
the relative penury of science is a corrupting variable. And the fact that we underfund science,
Yep.
and that it matters that when the rich guy comes into the room, right, to scientists because they're so starved for money, that's just corrupting.
Well, but look, this is I've been on this. This is going to get us into the immigration question, which is that in the mid '80s under Reagan, the science complex, particularly the National Science Foundation under Eric Bloch.
Okay, let me pause this. They're going on to another topic. All right, so there you go. I mean, I've gone, let's see, about almost 15 minutes here, and I'll do some more follow up. Again, the blackmailing of certain people, and then the tie-in. Clinton, Trump talked about this. So, Lolita Express. All right, I'll end it there. Good friends, good books, and a sleepy conscience, peace, love, and understanding here with Table Talk.